Hello, so this is going to be a quick video talking about a quick tip I've got. This is for the Craftsman steering boxes on the they were really popular, these Craftsman mowers that were built from the probably actually from about 2000 to, I don't know, 2004, 5, 6. Here I have some examples. This one here has the previous steering box, which is not great. It has a tendency to develop a lot of play. And so they replaced that steering box with a different type. So I'll show you here. It was a good job of them recognizing their fault. So they made this steering box, which is it's fantastic compared to the other. Look at, there's not much play in that. But it has issues too. It's this shaft goes through this casting here. It has a tendency to get really tight, stiff. So I came up with, somebody else may have already came up with this trick and posted it on YouTube. I have not seen it, but I don't really ever search for anything on YouTube. I came up with this trick here. Drill a hole about right in this position here. You see this line going across here in the casting. Gotta do it about that height. I did a little bit above. You don't want to come too far down or else you won't be able to reinstall the box. It's got to come out from the top. But this, I drilled a hole for a grease fitting, and this grease fitting here I just wrenched in there. I didn't even bother to tap, and it wasn't even necessary. Though I actually tore one of them out when I was pumping in grease because the grease gun was stuck to it. Evidently I didn't know how to loosen the grease gun. I don't usually use the grease gun much. Let me see what size this drill is though. I can't really tell, but it says it on here. Hopefully maybe it's accurate. 7/32 it looks like. I believe that's what this is, I guess. It's hard to even really tell. I might see 7:30. Yeah, I do see 7/32 on there. So that's the drill it takes, I believe. You could just buy a little grease fitting, Zoke fitting, they call them, from Lowe's, or you can. I've done 2 of these boxes like this in the past 2 days. Well, today and yesterday I did one. I think it was yesterday. I just pulled these off of a crack for an axle on one of these Craftsman's. Then I packed grease into there. You've got to have strong hands to squeeze that gun really hard to push the grease into here until it starts to squeeze out through the ends. The top end will start to squeeze out first since you're nearer to the top end, but the bottom end will start to squeeze out gradually. I squeezed some, squirted some in the middle, then I turned it to one end, turning one direction, and then the other. Like I took it over here, then it's still a little stiff. This trick does not work perfectly, but it's cheap and it seemed to do it pretty good. It might loosen up more during driving. I don't know yet. Of course, also it's hard to turn with your hand, but one of these it's not stiff. You can turn with your hand, which is proof that this trick does not work perfectly. I just took a steering wheel and kept sticking it on. I think at first I was turning the shaft with vice grips, but a steering wheel is more practical. It slips right on there. And so I turned it to this end. I greased it with it like that. With it like that. And then I turned it all the way to the other end and greased it with it like that. I did that production twice. Doing a lot of just turning it back and forth to help loosen it up in between. And it worked. This is not great, but it sure helped. They're both much looser than they have been. Plus, the steering box will probably last longer being greased. Here's one I've reinstalled on the chassis. can see where the fitting, when you put it a little bit above that line, it fits pretty good there, but you've got to strip off all of the dashboard. This was much easier because I stripped pretty much everything off this one. As you can see, the engine had thrown a rod, and I just flipped it onto the, after I had it all stripped apart, I flipped the tractor onto its side, and then zipped this off real fast with my sporty impact wrench. That was really nice to be able to do that. But you could do it with hand tools. And as you can see, this one I believe I greased a bit more thoroughly. As you can see, it's a bit stiff, but I can steer it with one hand. And when you're driving, you can generally steer with two hands. So I do think this trick will work. It will help. You might want to squirt a bit WD-40 on before you thread in the Zoke fitting. So that way, screw a little WD-40 in the hull. Oh, and the hull you'll want to drill about, I don't know, not even a 1/4 inch deep. Half a quarter maybe, I don't even know how much that is. Just a teeny bit. And not deep. Let's see if I got a tape measure so I can point to about where I think. Because you don't really want to drill through that shaft. Maybe to the first, I don't know if I can even see it on the camera, but the first line on here that is longer than the others. Can't even really see it on the camera, but very close to the end. Want to drill in a bit, and then you can turn the shaft a little, as long as it isn't completely stuck, and then see if you can see the metal shavings in the hole and a few others. And maybe a few other stuff, I say. Kind of see the shaft moving there. If you can't, you'll have to drill a bit further. Drilling into the shaft a little bit is okay, but you don't want to do it much. I have seen you can get new steering boxes, not new, used, off eBay for like 30 bucks a piece. I wouldn't be surprised if those are a little bit stiff a lot of the time though anyway. So this trick probably would cost you closer to 5 or 10. So it's cheaper, and it works pretty good, so I was pleased to find that the box did seem to be loosening up. Not great, but I'd say this is a trick worth trying. And just so you know, so this tractor, the engine threw a rod, so I stripped it down, and I'm planning on turning it into a old-fashioned looking garden tractor, because as you can see if you can envision this, these brackets that hold the body pan, I can tilt them a little bit more, and they're foot pegs, footrests, old-fashioned, and just put a seat on there, and an engine there, no hood, and put back on parts of the dash. This is a nice metal dash, look nice and old-timey, though actually it had this mounted on top of it. Anyway though, I think that this trick is pretty effective, and I thought was good enough that I may as well post a little video about it. Alright, bye.